Okay, we're back. Hey, welcome everybody to Tuesday Night Garblag Games. We're continuing Masks and Nyarlathotep using Pulp Cthulhu. And we have a whole group of investigators this week. We got Megan back as Gwen, returning as Gwen from the Peru leg of the trip. And we have Evan joining us. Oh, I just realized his name down there is blank. As Strong Old Man. Uh, you can do your character description. That's okay. I forgot it wasn't filled in because we didn't have your character details. Okay, but let's go ahead. Let's do the round tables here, and then we'll get started. Aaron, you're up first.
Thank you. I'm Aaron. Tonight I am playing Seamus Rook, a cat burglar, originally from Los Angeles, California, who found it a little too hot there in LA. He moved to Chicago, but he got a notification from his old pal to come see him in New York. And that all went rather poorly. If you watched last week, you know why.
Yes. I guess no spoilers. I don't know. Hopefully, people have watched last episode, but it is kind of spoilerific. Okay, Megan, you're returning as Gwen from the Peru leg of the journey. Can you reintroduce Gwen to us?
Absolutely. So Gwen Murphy is an artist. She was moderately well-known landscape artist, also a fairly good sketcher. However, after the trials and tribulations of Peru, she came back rather tainted after having to, cut a head off of a fat-sucking vampire with a sword. So things have kind of gone a little dark for her. She's kind of been lost in this South American pyramid, lots of swirly portals and whatnot, but it seems to be popular. So her work's been featured in galleries all across the world, from Paris to New York. But a lot of the money she's funneling back to Peru through a charity that she set up called Conquistador's Purse, which helps the families in the area that were affected by the craziness in Peru. So she's a little darker than she was previously, but excited to see where she goes from here.
That's great. I really like your backstory, what you filled in between now and then.
Yeah.
In the years that have passed. So you and Louis are both residents of New York. Have the two of you met up over the years? Have you had a few run-ins? Yes, no, you don't have to.
I hear you drink a lot of gin now, right?
Yeah, the two of you are booze hounds.
I feel like
Absolutely.
we probably could have met up for gin, for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Same stomping grounds. You kept in touch with Jackson Elias over the years as well?
Absolutely. I provided some sketches for his book.
Oh, for the book, the Peru book?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, even better. I like that. Okay. Well, then you'll be well acquainted with Prospero House. Okay. And Pat, welcome back. Can you tell us about Veronica, please?
Veronica West is an ambitious woman who's not going to let anything, be it the patriarchy or laws against murder, stop her from getting what she wants. And she's here to ensure her legacy, as it were, and maintain her standing as director of the most prestigious museum in the world. And she's ready to cheat, lie, and steal to do it. And anything else that needs to happen. She's bankrolling any sort of expeditions we go on because she's going to get to the bottom of this, and she's going to be touted as the one who solved the case of this horrendous act, and thereby gain even more fame and power.
Very good.
She's just a great person.
She is. Known in the society circles as the Black Widow.
Yeah, she's a bit of a Black Widow. But don't let the nomenclature fool you. I make excellent webs for my friends.
All right, Jeff, tell us about Louis a little bit.
Louis Salvatore is in his early 50s. He's from Queens, Flushing, New York, and he is a private investigator who makes most of his money, the very little bit that he has, doing like blackmail jobs, politicians and things for various members of the Maranzano faction of the New York Mafia. And in the past 5 years, he's been trying to go more legitimate, like taking up proper cases, but it hasn't worked out all that well. His wife won't talk to him still, and so his apartment / office is above a bakery somewhere in Queens, and there's like the baker's kid who tries to serve as like his assistant, trying to like get him to do jobs and things like that. And Louis he keeps him around just because he reminds him of Jaden. And so he frequently like catches himself, calls him Jaden or Jay, something like that. Keeping the Louis and Jaden side missions alive in some way, in some little way.
Awesome.
And he still drinks, like just unconscious, like just so much. He is a very high functioning alcoholic, but he has a lot of stuff that he doesn't want to remember. So that's why he does it.
But didn't that you were drinking like that before Peru?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a dark history.
Peru just made it worse.
Very, very dark. I have a very dark history for Louis. It's very sad. Yeah. We might touch on it, we might not, but it's a very dark history. Poor guy. I feel bad. The more and more I look at him, I'm like, why did I do this to myself? This poor guy.
But the connection between you and Jane was great. If people haven't watched the
Mhm.
Peru prologue, definitely go back and check that out. The two of you became like unlikely friends, like fast friends, just
Complete
through the course.
opposites.
Yes, but you complemented each other so well in the end. It was really good.
Yeah.
All right, and Evan, you're blank there. Can you tell us who you're playing?
Blank? Yeah, I'm playing Ryan Grayfall. He is an older, really huge dude. He's probably about 6'5", 6'6", 250. Even for his age, he's in great shape, but he only maintains it due to just being a naturally big person. It's not something that he like strives to be like a strong man or anything anymore. But when he immigrated from Switzerland, he didn't really have any job or any kind of thing set up for him. And that's where he met Jackson Elias, and he was part of his first expedition in the Amazon. And I think for him being so young, he saw a lot of things, but he didn't fully comprehend it. And so that kind of led him to, when they came back, to seek out that knowledge. And he's become an occultist by going to libraries and researching. And now that is kind of what he's been doing the past 20 years since then. And it's just for the sake of truth. It's not for his own curiosity. It's just more of just knowing what is real and what is not, and why it exists and things like that. So a very big guy that has kind of turned into a more softer side, but he's still big nonetheless.
Awesome. Yeah, 80% scrapbook. That's right, Coney. Love. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Your first time chat. I don't know if first time viewer, but it's great to have you here. Are you going to do a Swiss accent? Does that mean Evan the whole time?
What is a Swiss accent?
I don't know. I was
Is that the Hurgy chocolate or something like that? Oh wait,
That's
that's the
the
Swedish.
Swedish
That's
chef.
Swedish.
Swedish chef.
All right.
I mean, they speak
just do
French
German.
and German, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a bit between.
It'll
the two.
be whatever
You can do a
comes
French
out.
accent.
He's definitely on the
Do
German
deep,
border.
just do deep southern.
Fair.
Very southern. I do two
Well,
accents.
I'm a
Southern
German
declare.
and
Very
Switzerlander.
southern.
I'm from Switzerland.
Okay, so spoilers. Anybody's watching and doesn't want to know what happened last week and how this adventure starts. Let's get into it, though. We're gonna get Megan and Evan caught up in everybody's home and kind of remember some things. So the adventure started with everybody meeting in the Chelsea Hotel Chelsea. Sorry, in the you saw each other. You didn't really meet each other. None of you knew one another, but you met in the bar of the Hotel Chelsea. Everyone arrived a little bit early, had a few drinks. And about 5 minutes before meeting Mr. Elias, all of you had received a telegram prior to this from Jackson Elias saying that he had important information regarding the Carlisle expedition and he needed to see you in person. And you'd also received a very uncharacteristic phone call from him the days leading up to this as well, where he was kind of like frightened and scared. You could hear in his voice. And that's not like Jackson. So you all showed up. Seamus, you decided to take the stairs a little early on your way up. Louis and Veronica shared an elevator on the way up. And all of you kind of just converged at the door, all at the same door, kind of like, what are you doing here? Who are you? Why did Jackson invite you here? But as you're kind of talking and figuring things out, I think it was Louis. You heard like a gasp or a sound of a thud or something like that on the other side of the door. So you just like leaned back and barreled into the door and knocked it down. And that's
Like a hero.
like a hero. And that's when you saw in front of you Jackson Elias laying dead on the ground, his intestines spilling out of his guts. He had a strange marking carved into his forehead, and there was two men wearing like robes and strange headdresses that were heading out of the fire escape at the far end of the hotel room. I forgot to mention this last week. They are of African American origin, whereas the man that attacked you, Louis, was Caucasian. He had a Scottish accent. So we had different people in here that I didn't get into detail of because we did get into Kenyan death cults later in the session. So I thought it was important to now kind of rewind and kind of mention that. So you chased those two men out the fire escape, Louis. Unfortunately, the fire escape, it was loose. The weight between the three of you was a little too much, and it fell. It fell, collapsed off the side of the building. And the two men made off into a car. Do you have your notes on the make and model and the license plate?
It was a Hudson.
Hudson.
And I remember that
and I shot it.
we got the license plate, and it has
You
a
did.
hole in it. That's right. Yeah.
Yep. And Veronica leaned out the window and shot at it. Who took out the gentleman that jumped Louis? I can't even remember. Was it Veronica?
I gave him a shot that would have killed him if he hadn't been put down by a punch after that.
Right.
And then he bled out, so technically that was my kill. But
Oh yeah. No,
Who's
she
counting?
totally shot him dead. I hit him, but
That's
he
right.
bled out because of my bullet.
he was,
And that's
he was
and that's
dead
kinda,
on his feet.
Fair.
And that's
Fair.
kind of when panic just kind of erupted in the hotel. And Seamus, some quick thinking, you took the door, you propped it back up, and you shoved a dresser in front of the door while you could kind of like look over the scene of the crime and see what had happened here. And between Veronica, Seamus, and Louis, you collected a number of clues. We have you collected a letter from the Carlisle expedition, date of 1919. It was from Cairo. You have a card from the Penhew Foundation in London. You also collected a matchbook from the Shambling Tiger Bar, Shanghai Fun and Friends. There is also a photograph of what appears to have been taken in China or Shanghai, based off the type of boats in it. You had a card for Emerson Imports, located here in New York, with the name Silas Naquan scrawled on the back in pen. You had a letter from Harvard University that was addressed to Mr. Jackson Elias, who was looking for a certain book, but they were unable to locate it in their collection. There was a playbill for a lecture. That was the name, The Cult of Darkness in Polynesia and Southwest Pacific. 2-hour lecture with slides delivered by Professor Anthony Cowles. And then the last clue was the actual marking that was carved in Jackson Elias's head. So from there, Louis and Seamus fled, and Veronica was greeted by the police. She was taken to police headquarters, the local precinct, for questioning. She got to know a certain Lieutenant Martin Poole, who let her know that there was already someone in jail for similar killings, these markings and carvings in the head. A man was already on death row, and this cop was convinced that there's an innocent man that's on death row right now, and that his what was the rank? What's the Veronica? Who was the one who came in that punched him? Captain
Lieutenant?
Walter Robson had put an innocent man in jail, and he kind of like put everything under the rug a few months ago, said it was done. He ended up storming the room, beating the crap out of Lieutenant Poole, sending you on your way. Meanwhile, Louis and Seamus went to your apartment. They kind of put all the clues out on the table. They helped themselves to a whole lot of drinks. And then you eventually arrived, and the three of you kind of started trying to make sense of what happened that night, what took place, what these clues mean, what Jackson was working on, what this has to do with the Carlisle expedition, which happened years ago. The papers said that it was a massacre. It was a massacre in Kenya by a local tribe, but he claims to have uncovered more information. And then the night ran all the way through. You were startled in the morning when the newspaper thudded against your door and there was an article regarding Jackson Elias's death the night before. And there was also the notification of a funeral in the obituary section. That's where we left off. Did I leave anything out?
That was actually very thorough.
Oh,
I commend you.
thank you. I
What
tried.
was the
I tried.
captain's name again? I'm writing it down actually for real this time.
Yes, it is Captain. They did get copies of the clues, Coney Love. They're all in. We're using Foundry, and there are handouts for every one of them. They have access to them. And there's going to be a lot more handouts as we go through this adventure, because there are hundreds? Question mark? Easily. But let me get you that name of that gentleman. His name is Captain Walter Robson.
And Walter Robson. And what was the guy who actually had done some research on the Kenyan death cults named?
His name was Dr. Mordecai Lemming. That was one of the leads you wanted to chase
Dr.
after,
Lemming,
too.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, excellent. We're going to be seeing him today, I think. Or
I
at
think
least trying to.
the cops, Lieutenant Poole had brought up his name also. He said that they had brought him in and he kind of worked on the
Oh.
case.
That's how I found out about him. Yeah,
Right.
that's how we found out about him. I grilled that fucking cop. He wasn't
You
my
did.
interrogation.
You did. Mordecai Lemming.
You did great. I loved it.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
So, Gwen and Ryan, is it? I want to keep calling you Reinhardt. Like from Overwatch. Big, old,
know.
muscular man. All right, Ryan, you have also gotten notification of the funeral. You weren't able to make it for the meeting. You were invited to the meeting the night before to meet up with Jackson Elias, but unfortunately, due to... Oh, thank you, Luck. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, before we get into it, Luck. Thank you, Jeff. You should have just said something. I don't always watch chat. Okay. At the beginning of every session, we need to roll for luck. Luck can be spent to help you succeed on rolls and things like that. So what you do is everybody go ahead and make a luck roll. So click luck on your character sheet. And once everybody's done that...
If we spent it, do we? If we haven't spent it, do we still need to do this?
Yes, because you're going to gain more.
Oh,
You're always
hell
gonna,
yes.
It's always filling up. You can have a maximum of 99 luck. So you can sit on a whole pile of it.
Oh, I love luck. All right, where's?
Okay. Did everybody roll?
Where's the? Oh, there it is. Ha, ha, ha.
Perfect. All right. If you rolled higher than your current luck score, gain 2d10 plus 10 luck points. If you rolled lower, gain 1d10 plus 5 luck.
So 2d10 plus 10.
2d10 plus 10 or 1d10 plus 5.
19.
Nope, I'm
Take
capped
it.
off.
You're at 99?
Yep.
So this really encourages you to use luck session to session, especially when you're capped, right? Like you're not going to get any more. And we do this at the top of every session now going forward. So if you're off by a few points, spend that luck. Or if you really want something to happen and you're off by a lot of points, spend that luck.
So I had the talent lucky, which is why I added the extra D10. And even though I rolled under my luck, so.
Excellent. All right. So everybody should be sitting on a whole pile of luck right now as we get into this. So we're going to fast forward to the day of the funeral because we're not going to make Gwen and Ryan sit here while the others do the investigation because that sucks. That's boring. So we're going to fast forward a day or two to the funeral. The funeral is taking place on January 17th at 2 p.m. at Cypress Hills Cemetery. Is it safe to say that Seamus, Veronica, and Louie are going to arrive to the funeral together?
I think
Yeah.
I have to make a public appearance. I think I'll be separate from them. I'll be accompanied by by a couple of my most loyal members of the museum's hierarchy, including my absolutely doting deputy, who's going to be taking over for me for a brief stint of sabbatical
Very good.
as I investigate and mourn the loss of a close friend.
Louis and Seamus, you became fast friends that night. Have the two of you kind of been keeping in touch
Sure.
since then?
I think Seamus would have definitely been hanging out with Louis because he doesn't know anybody else in the city.
Can show you all the place. All the place. No problem. I I think Louis would probably, Louis would go with Seamus. That's no problem. Take the ferry, and probably walk a ways. I took some of that lady's coin. Maybe we can take a taxi, something like that. But I do think that once we get to the
nice.
once we get to the funeral, I'll probably kind of slink off away from everybody at that point. But we'll arrive at the same time.
Okay, sounds good. Ryan and Gwen, how are you arriving at the funeral? Car?
Walking.
Taxi? Walking? Okay. So 2
Yeah,
p.m.
just kind of show up.
You just kind of show up? Okay. So the group of you start to filter in to the funeral. If people at home also, if you hear like crowing and like mournful singing, it's because we're using Sirenscapes, custom sound sets for Masks and Nyarlathotep. So this is Funeral of a Good Friend. If you can hear that. You show up, you start filtering in one by one. I'm going to say that maybe Ryan, you walk up first. It's cold. It's January. It's been unusually cold this year, and there's been a lot of snow. There's a light dusting of snow coming down right now as you make your way up. Your shoes are crunching in the fresh snow on the sidewalk. And you can see as you approach the cemetery that there's a priest standing over by a headstone with an open grave. And there are a couple people standing over there already. You see a short, squat Caucasian man who's a bit balding. And he has like curly red hair that's starting to gray. And he's wearing a nice suit. And beside him, it looks like the two of them are together. The two of them are engaged in conversation. There's an African-American man. He's smaller in stature, much smaller in stature than the man next to him. And he seems rather nervous. He's always kind of like fidgeting and looking around. He seems a little wiry. And as you approach, you kind of like, the two of them look at you and nod. The one man who's a little nervous kind of shies away, doesn't make eye contact, but nods to you. And the priest acknowledges you joining them. And he says, "Are you a friend of Jackson Elias's?"
Ryan's like a pretty scarred dude from his previous encounters. He's not much of a talker, but he nods his head and just kind of looks at the grave. Because I'm assuming he read in the paper what happened too.
Yes, you did read that clipping of what happened, what took place at the hotel.
Yeah, and I think he'll nod and he'll just kind of take like a position where he could just listen to what everyone is saying and just try to see if he hears anything that comes up that catches his eye or anything that's weird. But he's just going to just kind of take it all in and just be more of a passive person right now.
Okay, very good. You have a journal now.
Thank you,
Veronica. So, and I'm answering as Ben in the game. You're like, why is Ben in here? Because I'm logged in. Oh, so next to arrive, I'm gonna say is Louis and Seamus. The two of you roll up. Did you say you took a taxi here, or how did you arrive?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
So you see the two men that I described to Ryan, and Ryan, go ahead and describe yourself to the two of them. What do they see? What's your appearance look like?
Yeah, he's an older figure. He has kind of shoulder-length gray hair with a thick gray beard, scars across his face. You see he has trunks for arms and legs. Probably 6'6", 250, 300, somewhere around there. Just a massive person in general. But he is just wearing like a simple kind of sweater, simple clothing. And you can see he has a kind of like a messenger bag that's kind of almost looks like a fanny pack to him because he's so big, but he has that kind of wrapped around his shoulders, and he's just has his arms crossed, kind of just looking at the grave, but he's like actively just listening to people he's never seen before and just seeing what they're saying about what's happened.
Very good. So you don't recognize this man. You've never seen him before. You've never seen the other men either. But this is like nobody's here. Nobody's at Jackson's funeral. That's kind of something that strikes all of you as you approach. There's really no one here for such a well-known and celebrated author. Like some of his books were bestsellers. There's nobody here. Next, we're gonna say Veronica. You pull up. You pull up with your driver and fancy car.
Yes. And my deputy and I probably have a few other lackeys who I convinced are very sad about this whole affair. And, we show up in black. I, of course, wearing a very well-worn black dress that I always take to... it's my favorite funeral dress, let's put it that way. And I kind of stroll up, mink around my neck, tears in my eyes. I put them there in the car, and I'm all heartbroken about the affair, and I kind of step up as close as I can and introduce myself to those who don't seem otherwise engaged in active mourning.
Yeah. Well, Seamus and Louis you recognize, but everyone else there is new to you.
Yes, of course.
The
I
two
give
men
them-
that I described initially too, they nod to you. And last but not least, Gwen, how do you arrive? How do you roll up?
So I'm gonna come from around the church. It's like I've been walking for a long time. Of course, I'm in my all black pantsuit because I don't wear dresses, right?
Yep.
And big sunglasses and so forth. And it's very obvious, even with the sunglasses, that I've been crying for a very long time. And kind of show up and pull my collar around my neck a little bit and kind of saunter in, until I see Louis.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you and Louis, you kind
Right?
of take a moment, but you two recognize one another.
Absolutely. And I go right over to him and I give him a big hug and a on each cheek.
And you can smell the gin. Like it's probably commonplace at this point. Louis has respectfully put on his darkest suit, but it is nonetheless one that probably hasn't been kind of washed or ironed in some time. He looks probably pretty disheveled. But he's got like a kind of a stone face on at the moment, and like he still reacts and hugs and is happy to see you, but he's not crying, and he seems a little bit more disoriented probably than you might be used to with Louis. Like he's not as hawkish with his eyes at this point.
Fair. All I say to you is, I'm sorry I didn't come earlier.
It's all right. There was nothing you can do. They wanted him dead. They got him dead. That's how it was.
Do you guys have any leads on the bastard? Oh, bastards.
Yeah, we got a few. We'll talk more after the service.
Absolutely.
With that, the priest kind of clears his throat and says, "Well, we will begin the procedures." And he says a few words, says some prayers, and then he opens it up to the few people that are there. There's 7 of you in total. He says, "Would anybody like to share any special memories you had of Jackson and his exploits?"
Sure there, preacher. I gotta say, Jackson Elias, he was a top-notch fella. He and I, we hit it right on. He's a terrible thief, worst thief I ever met, but he was a good guy, and he always had my back once I got back to the States. So God got a good one there. I think God got him. That's all I got to say, preacher.
The priest, thank you. Thank you for those kind words. Would anybody else like to say anything before we lay Mr. Elias to rest?
I look over expectantly at those who I know have interacted with him in the Peru expedition, which is only one. I haven't yet met Megan's character, but I look over to him, see he's occupied in, I suppose, conversation or just kind of, he's probably listening to the sermon. Anyway, I look at him. He doesn't say anything immediately. I say, if I may. Not to follow up on such an overwhelming and enlightening tidbit of our own shared past with this man. Elias was an excellent man, a fantastic man, a man devoted to the research of the world and to cherishing it for what it truly is, and disabusing us of the fantasies and bigotry that we might otherwise assume of cults, of man's baser instincts, of what it truly means to be a human in the world and to share in our collective experience as people. I truly believe that he was a humanitarian and a true believer in all that is good in people, in spite of his macabre topics of research. He delved into the dark so that we could live ourselves in a more enlightened society. And for that, we are all eternally indebted to the man. I personally am deeply grateful to have known him. Even during this brief stint, he was an absolutely marvelous friend to my late husband and to me as well. And I can't help but wish that we could extend even an ounce of the justice that he believed in. And I am personally deeply indebted to him, having known him as well as I did. And I will not sully a moment about him by stating that I will personally seek to enact justice, but rather let me just say that I will deeply miss him, and the world will truly deeply miss him. But he is up there with God, where he belongs.
Priest, thank you. Thank you for those kind words. And I'm gonna say, who do you have? You have a lackey with you? I'm gonna say he kind of tries to comfort you. One of your entourage that you brought with you. And with that, the priest looks around, seeing if anyone wants to say any other words, and picks up some dirt and tosses it on the coffin as it gets lowered down, and invites anybody else to do the same or say one last word in private to Jackson Elias before the grave digger starts to fill in the grave as it slowly lowers down.
I kneel and I toss a little bit of dirt, and I whisper under my breath, "You bastard, I need to get back my clothes."
Louis will get near the edge where the dirt is, and he'll just like mumble, not like quietly, and he'll just say something along the lines of, "Maybe if you would have believed me the first time I tried to tell you something was wrong with the world, maybe you wouldn't be in the box right now with your guts spilling out." And then I'm just gonna kick some dirt. You stupid son of a bitch! But like you can tell, he's kind of upset, and so he like backs away from it.
Absolutely. So I'll reach into my coat pocket and grab an envelope and throw it in. Grab my flask, take a sip, and then pour the rest out onto the coffin, and give him one last hurrah, and off I go.
Seamus looks down. He's like, I always told you, Jackson, you should have carried a shooter with you. Otherwise, that guy wouldn't have carved you up like that. But you're going to be missed. And yeah, everything that Mrs. West said, that's from me too. You were all right guy.
Yeah, I think Ryan will actually take the shovel from the gravekeeper and he will do the dirt himself.
Nice. Okay.
Just silently, and you see him looking, and he kind of looks at whoever this fancy woman is, and he just mumbles to himself, "Big words, no heart." And he just keeps digging.
Very good.
At this part, Matt, I want to say that Louis actually walks away from the surface for a little bit and kind of goes up a hill, like further and deeper into the cemetery somewhere, if that's okay, just for a couple minutes.
Yeah. As you do so, make me a spot hidden roll. No, did you have like 100 in that?
Sure. Do I really need to make this anymore?
Not really spot hidden.
No, that's fine. It's fine. 110 spot hidden's pretty solid.
Sure, go ahead and roll spot hidden.
No, I'll do something else.
Roll spot hidden. No. It's all right.
Okay.
It's like the awareness. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at that success.
Yeah.
As you're you're walking away.
Matt. This is all he's got.
You've got your hands in your pockets. You're walking away. You go up on a hill, and you're kind of surveying. You're looking down at Ryan digging the grave. Everyone else is still there, and you look out over the gate, the gated fence of the cemetery, and you notice that there's a few reporters that have shown up. One guy's got a camera out and he's trying to snap pictures through the bars of the cemetery of what's going on, and you can tell like they're keeping their distance, like they're being respectful, but they're gonna basically assault everybody on their way out.
Okay, so Louis will take something out of his pocket, and he'll place like this small little wooden toy like on one of the gravestones, and then we'll turn back around and like just walk back to the group at that point, and say, "Yeah, it looks like the birds are out. This isn't going to be pretty on our way out." And I'll just like nod towards the reporters over behind the gate.
Those bastards can't even leave us to our own mourning. And I'll stop. I mean, which way are they, Louis? Which way are they?
I just point like to wherever they are at.
They're at the
Just,
gate. So like they're congregating at the gate. They're on the street. They're on the road, like on the sidewalk. They haven't entered the cemetery itself. Like they are being respectful. They are keeping their distance during the ceremony, but you have to walk through an iron gate to get out of here. And they're basically standing at the gate. They're talking with one another. They got their little pads out. They got their little press things in their hat. There's a guy with a big camera, big flashbulb camera, and they're just kind of like waiting for things to end. Like I said, you know they're going to accost you on the way out.
Might be a good idea if we don't really say much to them. I don't know.
I'm gonna say when you kind of like nodded, and some of you who looked over, maybe Gwen, you looked over, and anybody else, all of a sudden like the flashbulb was like from the street, and they kind of caught a picture of some of you looking up and over at them.
That's it. And I storm over there and I'm arms. You bastards! You don't have enough decency to leave us poor mourners alone. You buggers, get off this road! Start throwing snowballs at them and rocks and anything that I can find through the.
Yeah, they start kind of like, hey, lady, this is public property, eh? We got the right to be here.
You don't have a right to be anywhere, you vultures! Get out of here!
They kind of like they're hiding behind the car as you're throwing snow at them, but they're not really leaving. They're just kind of. This one's off a rocker, boys.
Hey, Louis, is your friend gonna bump off those reporters? She looks
just
mighty peeved.
She's peeved. You don't want to get on the bad side of that one. Nah, she's just working some things out. That's all.
I like her. What's her name?
It's Gwen Murphy. She's I can't say I know much about art, but she's an artist. Yeah. Well, then you might want to talk to her. She's painter, something like that. I don't know a charcoal drawing from a sculpture. So anyhow, we should probably go help Seamus. Now ain't the time.
No, it's not the time. You're correct.
So Seamus will put his hands in his overcoat pockets and start walking towards the gate. It's like, all right, I'll tussle with some of those boys.
All right.
Excellent.
They see you coming. Louis, are you going over also?
Oh yeah. Seamus and I together.
All right, you start walking over. Hey, fellas, get it under control. You got a few words for the papers?
Yeah.
I got a few words, but I don't think you want to print them, bub. I don't think you want to print them.
Come on, help us sell a couple of papers. Give us something.
Oh, I got something for you right here, and
Just what?
And, you never done this. You never done this?
It's the Italian thing.
God knows what I'm talking about.
Forget about it.
You do a little of this too, but I like that one better.
Do you want to like intimidate them, or like what do you want to do?
Oh yeah. I want to intimidate them, get them to leave Gwen alone, especially.
All right.
I'm walking up behind. I'm gonna arrive like right after this remark.
They go, hey, it's the broad that was there the night he died.
I'm gonna arrive after the remark.
And they all of a sudden the camera's like, and they take your picture
All right.
standing beside Louis.
Enough already.
They get a good shot of you like standing beside Louis, the two of you in a photo. We'll say she was there the night Jackson died.
Can I
was a
try
good
and
man.
punch the reporter?
Yeah, you can go through the gate. You can try to punch them. They're like hiding behind a car. They're trying to keep their distance from you. You can walk right up to
200
them.
other people were in the hotel when he died too. Okay, you there accosted them as well. Come on, get out of here.
You can roll me intimidate.
Okay. Intimidate.
Regular difficulty. All right.
Let's pass.
Yeah. You're shouting expletives at them, and you're kind of like mean mugging them. You're giving them the old this and. that.
flailing all over the place. No.
And like, all right, take it easy. Gwen, you can go over there. I'll allow you. If you want to try and sucker punch one of these guys, you can. They're not really expecting a lady to come over and hit them, so go ahead, make me a fighting brawl roll. It'll just be a regular difficulty. Oh, wow. So, one of the guys, he's sitting there, he's like, oh, so you finally came to your senses. You're going to give me a statement here? And as he says that, you just walk up and just deck him right in the face. And he touches his mouth, and it's like bleeding. He's like, what the hell is this all about? That's assault! Somebody call the cops.
Take your camera and go. You want to tell everybody that you got beat up by a girl? Hit the road.
Jeez.
Seamus will walk up to that guy and pull out a handkerchief. And he's like, hey, pal, your nose is bleeding there. And as he does that, he dips his other hand into his pocket to take his wallet.
Oh, okay, sleight of hand. Wow. Sleight of hand. Poof. I was not expecting this.
He'll succeed.
You did succeed. 90%. Wow. Barely, but you did it. So yeah, you
That's
reach
what he
over,
does.
and you take his wallet, and he doesn't realize it. As you get over, he's like, "Whoa, okay, back off!" And all the reporters are kind of like, "All right, we're leaving. We know there's no story. Let's go, fellas." No,
You see, hey, Seamus says, hey, buddy, your wallet here.
he turns around. He kind of feels in his breast pocket. Hey! Give me that back!
There you go. Watch out when the girls hit you. Apparently, they knock the wallet right out of your pockets. You got to
That
toughen
is,
up there, Stein.
Scandalous rumor.
Do you toss it back to him? Or are you keeping it?
No, I toss it back.
All right, yeah, you toss it in the snow and he has to like kind of walk forward and lean over and get it. And he's kind of embarrassed. You're all standing over him, lips still bleeding. Takes his wallet, dusts the snow off, and tucks it back in his breast pocket.
During all this, are the other two guys, or whoever I'm with,
The other two men,
talking? Yeah, are they talking? Are they saying anything or doing anything?
They wait. They're standing there with you, and they're mournful. And when you're done, I'm gonna say it's roughly around the same time as they're done accosting these these reporters, and the two men walk over and they say, "I'm so sorry for your loss." And
good.
the one man, the short, squat man with the big curly red hair that's graying, he holds out his hand. He goes, "Jonah Kensington, owner of Prospero House. I published all of Jackson Elias's books. Pleasure to meet you. I read about your exploits in the Amazon."
Long ago, many years.
And the other man, he extends his hand, and he's kind of like nervous. He goes, I too am sorry for your loss. The name is Carlton Ramsey. I am Jackson Elias's lawyer and executor of his estate. You and your 5 friends were the only ones who were mentioned in Mr. Elias's will, and I'd like to read that will in the next few days if you're available, if you're going to be sticking around New York.
He looks behind him for friends and doesn't see.
Yeah,
him.
you see the others. They're like beating up reporters.
He kind of shakes his head, says, "Too noisy, too noisy."
Yeah. Says, perhaps we should reel them in and make them aware as well. They kind of invite you to walk to the gates with them towards the others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 3 of them stroll up to the rest of you, and I get the same sort of thing. Like the reporters are running away, and the one man walks up. He's like, Jonah Kensington, editor-in-chief and owner of Prospero House. Pleasure to meet you all. Pleasure to meet you all.
Madam West, Veronica West.
Fellow socialite.
Yes. I'm sure we're somewhat acquainted.
We run in the same circles.
Exactly, yes.
And
What was
the
his
other
name
man,
again?
his name is Jonah Kensington.
Okay. Do I know anything about him?
You know, good question.
You don't have to tell me right now. Okay, yeah?
He introduces himself as the owner of Prospero House, which you know is the publisher of all of Jackson Elias's books. That you're aware of. The other man introduced himself as Carlton Ramsey to the rest of you. And he says that he's the exeter of Jackson Elias's estate and his lawyer, and that he's inviting the four of you, the remaining four of you, to the reading of the will, as you've all been mentioned in Jackson Elias's will. He says the reading of the will will be taking place in my office at 124th Street and Lenox Avenue on Monday at 1 p.m. I hope you can all attend.
Yeah, we'll be
Very
the
good.
dirtiest one among us. Says.
Yeah, you're the only one.
I guess you and I don't run in the same circles, do we?
He looks at you. He's kind of nervous. He doesn't really make eye contact. I suppose not. He says, and he's kind of like
Something
fidgeting
wrong with
with a
your face?
pen, fidgeting with a pen in his hand. He's not making eye contact. No,
I want to try to I really want to try to get like a look at his eyes. Like I really kind of. I want to kind of. I'm trying to assess him. I'm trying to like get a read on him to see like if this guy is just like fidgety and strange, or if he's got something to hide. I don't trust anyone right now.
Apparently. I'm just looking for.
I was leaning towards psychology if I could.
Yeah, psychology. I like it.
That's a fail.
Yeah, you're unable to read him. You're just like, man, what's with this guy? I wish he'd stop moving and fidgeting. Yes, my Monday, 1 p.m. 124th and Lenox. What you know is in Harlem.
Yeah, I know where it is.
Gwen, you'd know that as well, being a New Yorker. And it's Veronica. 3 New Yorkers, it's office in Harlem. And Jonah Kensington goes, if you have the opportunity, I'd like you to stop by Prospero House as well. I have a few troubling correspondence from Jackson leading up to these unfortunate events that may be of interest to you.
Well, Mr. Kensington, it's funny that you mentioned that, because we were actually talking about coming down to see you.
Very good, very good. Well, the office, you can find us on Lexington Avenue near 35th Street. Just show up, let my secretary know you're here and there, and we can review what he sent me. Some of it's quite troubling.
We will be there as soon as we can. We won't spare any moments.
So, Mr. Kensington, who's your big quiet friend here?
He kind of turns. They turn and look at you. Yes, my good man. What was your name? You didn't introduce yourself.
He sighs. I am Ryan.
Ryan, is that German?
He looks at you and doesn't say anything.
Well, all right. It's a pleasure to meet you there, Mr. Ryan. How did you know Jackson?
Talking. He seems uninterested in.
Well, that was a swell answer there, sir. It's a pleasure meeting you. I don't know about this mook, but Louis, where are we headed to? We going over to Prospero House or someplace else? I think we got some things to hash out.
Yeah, we have a couple places we want to look into. I gotta kind of fill Gwen in on a few of the leads. She's got a nose for some of these things. She might be interested. You over there, the big guy, Ryan. You got an afternoon to kill? You got something to do? You got places to see?
I have to walk home.
Not around us, you don't.
I'm sure Miss Veronica here can get you a ride, maybe.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't want her help.
Oh, harsh. What are you, some kind of self-made man?
No, I am extremely large.
I could get a pickup truck.
That seems a little condescending.
I've been called that before.
I will start walking now. And he starts walking to...
No. Sorry. Got a nasty demeanor. Really, truly gripes people. But stick with us, please. We're all invested in this. We're all mentioned in the will. I don't know what the heck's that about. Or
You
what the heck that's
say
about.
you say words you don't mean.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I do mean, sir. You're being rude to the lady, and you're very big, so you'll probably get away with it. But we're gonna find out what happened to Jackson Elias, and you can either help us or you can hoof it out of here.
It was in the newspaper, no?
That was bullshit. We were all there when he died. None of that stuff in the newspaper was true. We watched him bleed out in his hotel room. Hell, Louis fell off a building trying to get the bastards who did it.
And you didn't save him from bleeding out.
He was already, intestines were all over the floor by the time we got in there. I ain't no doctor. I tried to shove him back in, but
He
it
kind of
didn't help.
leans down to you, getting kind of close. He says, "What if you did it?"
What if I did it?
If I did it, I probably wouldn't be telling you I was trying to solve the murder. And these two here were with me when we got to the hotel. We saw the guy who did it. She put a bullet in him.
Let him go. He's not interested.
The paper did report that there was a man that was killed there. Yeah. There was an assailant.
Technically,
People
though,
got away, though.
that was self-defense, according to Miss West's statement to the police. So that's what we're going with there.
It objectively was self-defense.
That's true. He was trying to stick a knife into her.
She might have got the one that put the knife in him, but that ain't necessarily the one that ordered the knife to go into him. One of them got away. There's more going on here. If you know anything about Jackson, and clearly his friend, soft-spoken though you may be, he's got a lot of enemies, and we're aiming to figure out which one of them orchestrated his death. If you want to lend a hand with that, you're welcome with us. Otherwise, it's a beautiful winter afternoon.
He nods and sticks his massive hand towards Louis to shake it.
We'll shake it, no problem. All right.
Shake a shake. All right, so you had identified a couple of places and things you wanted to investigate ahead of time. So we talked about Emerson Imports. We talked about Dr. Mordecai Lemming. And what was the other one? Making contact with Harvard to get more details about the book that he was requesting that was not available or had disappeared or whatever it was. And you have Prospero House as well now.
What day of the week is this again?
This is a Saturday, so Monday the 19th
like 2 days
is when
till
the reading the will will be taking place, and we also have the reading the will. You can fast forward to that as well, if you want. But you do have time. You got a couple days if you want to go hit these places up in New York or make some phone calls, knock on some doors. You're more than welcome to.
Pretty sure that Imports place was Hell's Kitchen, if I recall correctly. Manhattan, 43rd Street, West 43rd. Is that right?
I think that's what you said. Yeah, Louis.
That ain't too far from here if we wanted. I mean, we're in Brooklyn, but
I'm pretty sure, that I'm sure they'll be open on a Saturday too. I've never met a place like that wasn't open to me on a Saturday.
Yeah, and if they're not open, then I mean, there's other ways. Like
I said, I never found a place that wasn't open to me on a Saturday.
You just smash the
you.
door if it's not open. You create opening.
You are the biggest subtlety I've ever seen, and I love you. But there's subtler ways to do this.
He starts walking to the
say,
directions he was
Rook
given.
is excellent at subtlety. From what I've experienced firsthand. You still owe me a recommendation on a nice log.
That is true, Mrs. West. As I told you, though, there's not made that's nice enough for me, but that's what I can come up with for you.
All right, so we're going to go to Emerson Imports. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. And I'll fill at this point, I'll fill Gwen in on everything we found. Even though we don't have a table to unfurl it, he'll recall it with surprising accuracy for such an alcoholic. Everything that we found, from the matchbox to the the photo that Veronica found of the boats, which she concluded from that, to the 2 business cards we had, the name that was on one of the business cards, all those types of things. Any of these things ringing a bell for you?
No, but Emerson Imports. There's something there. There's something there. I'm glad we're going there first. I'd like to have some questions answered.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. You ever go to London at all? You travel to the across the pond there?
Well, on my way home, I did go via London, make sure the Viscount was comfortable in the facility that his family chose for him. But I didn't linger long.
Matt, do we know what the Penhew Foundation is?
You know that I believe his name is Arthur Penhew, off the top of my head, bankrolled the Carlisle Foundation or the Carlisle Expedition.
Okay.
That was in the newspapers. I think that's even in
Okay.
the clippings All right. They should be shared with you. That's the ones that you could see that were shared out. I recommend going through those newspaper clippings when you have a chance, just because it fills you in on the backstory on the Carlisle expedition. But yeah, Penhew is linked to that. So a Penhew Foundation you're assuming was gonna be tied to the same Penhew. All right, Emerson Imports.
Yeah. By the way, may I propose that after we arranged to work together during the funeral, I gave my driver the day off, and we're all in my car.
Very good. Who's driving?
I'm walking.
You're walking
Louis
beside the car?
can drive, no problem.
My guy does not fit in cars in the 1920s. There's no way. He is going to walk everywhere.
It could be cramped.
It could be cramped. That could be a funny dynamic. We can enjoy this.
You could,
You could ride outside on the running board.
yeah,
I
yeah.
forget what women's rights in the 20s were with regards to driving. Were we not allowed to drive in the 20s? I forget.
I don't know. This is where the chat usually helps us, and they go do Google searches and they fill us in on historical facts.
I'm sure we were, because we could fly planes and shit.
It doesn't seem like something, a little law like that doesn't seem like something that would stop Veronica.
Oh, it certainly wouldn't. I'm just trying to think, logically, when I get eyes turned.
So, just looking at newspaper clippings here,
driving.
Jeff, sorry, just to go back, Sir Aubrey Penhew was a spokesman for the Carlisle expedition, and also, I believe he bankrolled it. Aubrey Penhew.
No, Carlisle bankrolled it, didn't he?
I don't know. I gotta go back and look at all the... but
fair.
you know who Penhew is.
No worries.
You know who Penhew is.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so let's jump over to Emerson Imports. Let me switch up our Sirenscape for Emerson Imports. So you make your way to Hell's Kitchen. You find a long, narrow building along the edge of the Hudson River. And there's loading docks on both ends. The building itself is a warehouse. The big sliding doors are open, and you see it's piled high with freight. And there's a small set of offices upstairs near the front. But otherwise, there's not really people milling about on this Saturday. And the cold air is blowing in.
Does it seem like it's open, legitimately
it's
open and functioning?
Yeah, it seems like it's legitimately open. It's the middle of the afternoon because you just came from the funeral, which is at 2 p.m. So we'll say it's 4 p.m. right now. It's not dark or anything. But yeah, the big giant sliding doors are slid open. But you don't see anybody really milling about. But you do see some offices on the front end up high.
I could see if I could, casually walk up to those offices and see what's in there.
The phone keeps ringing. Someone should
Someone pick it up.
Hello?
Everyone put yourselves to silence.
You're dead.
Okay, so
yeah, do you want to stroll up there?
So what do you think?
Emerson
I could quietly walk up the stairs and see if I could, find out anything in the office. I'm pretty quiet when I want to be.
Do you want to stealth
Could
up
be
there?
prudent.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Does anybody want to join Seamus as he tries to... He, navigates around the boxes and the crates that are piled up high. They have all sorts of markings on them from around the world. And you slowly go up these steel steps up to this office. It has windows kind of all around it looking down, but you don't see anybody standing at the windows. They'd have to actually be standing at them for you to see them.
Yeah, I'm just walking normally to the door.
To the door? Okay. So do you want to get
Loud
in front of him?
and proud. Yeah.
Loud and proud. So do you want to get in front of him before him there, Seamus, stealthing up
Oh
there?
yeah.
Okay, go ahead and roll me your stealth.
Seamus looks back and he goes, "Oh, this ain't gonna go well." So yeah, he gets ahead and starts moving out.
Perhaps
Yeah,
he and
so
I
you-
could get better acquainted.
You kind of get in front of him as he's like, you're just striding, right, Ryan? You're not like
Yeah,
running
no,
to
it's
the,
not
to
like
the
a
door or
sprint,
anything.
no.
So you get ahead of him and you silently move up the stairs. You make sure you kick off the snow off your shoes so they don't crunch on the way up, and he moves quietly up these steel steps, and you get to the top, and there's a door with a glass panel on it, and on the door it says Arthur Emerson, and you can see a man sitting at a desk, and he's looking over a whole bunch of piles of papers. It almost looks like manifests, but he doesn't see you. It looks like he's in the middle of doing some paperwork. This man who's in there, he's looks like he's seated, but he's built, like he's wide, like he's muscled. Well muscled, probably from working the docks for years. He's middle-aged. He's got brown hair. It's thick and like neatly groomed. And like I said, he's engrossed in going through some sort of papers or paperwork at this point in time, and is unaware of your that you're there.
This is the only office up here.
This is the only one.
Okay, so Seamus knocks on the door.
Yeah, you knock on the door, and he's startled. He looks up at you, and he kind of like narrows his eyes, and his brow kind of furrows. What do you want?
So up to there. My name is Seamus Rook, and you are, sir?
He motions for you to come in the door.
Okay.
Open the. He hangs his head low, like, oh, what do I deal with? He opens. He stands up, and this guy is tall. He's tall and he's wide. Like, he's built, like kind of like your friend Ryan. He's not as big, but you can tell like he's well muscled. It's starting to kind of like soften though with middle age, but he's a pretty physically imposing guy. He holds out a big beefy hand. He goes, Arthur Emerson. Now, what is this all about?
Well, Mr. Emerson, some friends and I are here. We're looking for Mr. Silas McQueen.
Silas. Yeah, I know him. What do you want with him?
We got some questions to ask him. He and a friend of ours go way back.
Who's that? You're not the first one to come knocking around here and asking about him. What's this all about?
Oh, really? Who else was I to talk to old Silas there?
Some author. He was here and he was asking questions about him, asking about the shipments I get from Mombasa.
Oh, would that have been Mr. Jackson Elias?
Yeah. That's him. That's the guy. I told him to go to Juju House and go talk to Mr. Naquan there.
The Juju House. You have to give me there, sir. I'm not from New York. I'm from L.A. Where's the Juju House at?
It's here in New York. He looks at you kind of like, where else would it be?
Well, yeah, sir. I kind of figured that, but it's a big city, and I'm a small guy.
And he kind of sighs like, all right, West 138th Street, Juju House.
West 138th Street, the Juju House.
I'm the U.S. agent for Mombasan exporter Aya Singh. And my contact here is Juju House. You'll find it, though, around the back of West 138th Street, the one ransom court. Naquan is the manager.
Ah, all right. So I'm actually looking for Mr. Aya Singh there? How do you spell that?
No. That's my contact over in Kenya, in Mombasa.
Ah. All right. I think. And now, hey, Mr. Elias, when he was here asking you about what you were importing from Mombasa, what was his questions?
He just wanted to know who's importing goods from Kenya, from Mombasa particularly. That's all he wanted to know. I'm the U.S. agent for it. I don't know what the hell I'm getting in here. I just sent it off to my contact.
Oh, all right. So all you did was tell him to go on to his contact, to your contact. I see that.
That's right. I'm gonna say at this point, like maybe Ryan's walking up the stairs. This fellow with you too?
Oh yeah, he's even bigger than you. Can you believe that? You before this morning, you would have been the biggest human being I ever saw in my entire life, sir. But Ryan here, he's very quiet, but he's a very, very big man.
How do you fit in the door? He's trying to turn to get through.
All right. Are we done here? Is there anything else I can do for you? Is it just you're looking for Juju House and Silas?
Yeah, that was all I think we were looking for. We may be back later to ask you a few more questions. Our friend, the man you talked to, Jackson Elias, he was horribly murdered, and we're pretty sure that it involves the questions he was asking you. So if I was you, I'd be particularly careful about any weirdos coming around with funny markings in their head, because they carved him up like a turkey.
Yeah, any weirdos, huh? And he kind of looks at Ryan.
He's still trying to get through the door.
All right, sir. You got a good point there. I'm not gonna lie. You got a good point there. He is a little. I think he's European. I don't know what to tell you.
That explains it.
Turns out he goes, Ryan. I think we're done here. So you could just kind of turn it around. I can't get out without you moving.
I was so close. And he eventually makes his way. Probably breaks the door a little bit and then gets out.
Have a good day, gentlemen. Don't forget to close the door on your way out. It's freezing out there.
Thank you, sir.
He kind of mumbles under his breath and he sits back down and goes back to his paperwork. You can tell he's struggling with.
So, he told us that he sent Jackson over to the Juju House. I don't know. That's some West 138th Street. Louis, you know
in
that?
Harlem. It's in Harlem, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if he was exactly telling us the whole truth, though. I mean, it may be a situation where we might want to come back later in the evening, say when nobody's around, and take a closer look at some of his files. But
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good idea. So what did he say about this Juju House? Who's there? What did he say about Silas? This Silas Laquan?
yeah, he said that was his contact for doing the importing from some crazy country in Africa. I don't Mombasa, Kenya. I don't know. I couldn't quite understand all of what he was telling to me, but he said that Jackson came and talked to him, and that he sent Jackson to this Juju House over there, and apparently in Harlem, like you're saying, and that we're supposed to talk to that fella over there at the Juju House.
Kenya, you said? That he's importing stuff from Kenya?
Yeah, from Mombasa. He said Mombasa. I don't know where Mombasa is. But he said it was in Africa. So,
don't you remember, Louis? Larkin was going on and on about this cult of the bloody tongue or something along those lines. And
Yeah, this ain't the first time.
Right?
Yeah. Not to mention that old Tintin had his visions, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, gosh. Absolutely. And Carlisle, didn't his party get massacred in Kenya?
Yeah, you all read the papers, right? You remember about that Carlisle expedition? Mombasa, Nairobi, around there.
My husband was deeply invested in that.
yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, Louis. I heard a little bit about it, but other than the sports page, I don't pay that close attention to the news.
Sure. So we got this card here that says Penhu Foundation. Then we got this place that's got Mombasa. This guy's getting imports from Mombasa with a Carlisle expedition. Happened to die. We got our friend who happened to die. And then, lo and behold, this Penhu Foundation. Guess who was involved in that Carlisle expedition? Penhu.
And need I also point out that our friend, the last thing that any of us received from him was with regards to a discovery he'd made regarding the Carlisle expedition. It does seem to be in connection.
Could I
definitely makes sense to pay this Juju pay this Juju House a visit. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay.
No, I was just asking, like, when they bring up like cult stuff, is that like something where I can roll a cult? Like, if it's bringing up actual things, or
would they be familiar with the cult of the bloody tongue at all? Like I know that Gwen and I are, and
Yeah,
and-
you and Gwen are definitely aware because of what happened in Peru, but the way you got about it was through Cthulhu mythos rolls and roundabout ways. Go ahead. Yeah, roll me an occult roll, but it's going to be hard difficulty.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So I just make it to -1, or just make it regular to hard.
Yeah, regular.
Okay.
Hard. Yeah, just move the slider to hard.
yeah, the +1 -1 is for bonus die stuff.
Gotcha. Success. I rolled.
Success. All right, you are aware that they are a Kenyan cult. You've heard of them. You've heard rumors that they worship a strange god that you can't recall at this time. But it's something that you've never heard of before on any other tribe or place in the world. But you don't know too much about them. You know that they're unnatural. They're primal in nature. Their god is almost like an alien in nature compared to what you would consider a god in other religions. But you don't know too much more about them other than that. But you have heard of them. You're aware of them, and they are based out of Kenya. And I'm gonna say if you get a chance to see the markings on Silas's head, or not Silas's, I'm sorry, Jackson's head, you would know that that symbol that was carved in his forehead was also the insignia, or the sign of the tribe or the cult of the bloody tongue. But you don't have it this time. There is a photograph. They do have it with their evidence. So when you see the rest of the evidence, you will be able to pinpoint and be like, that's cult of the bloody tongue. That's them. That's their symbol.
Yeah. Okay.
We should definitely figure out exactly what they were import from Mombasa. So if we got to go over this Juju house and talk to this, was it Silas?
Yes,
go do
I
that.
agree.
Yeah, Silas and Naquan, I think, was what was
Naquan,
on the
yes.
back of that card.
And I think your idea about coming here for the after hours might be a good idea.
Yeah, he seemed like a straight shooter, but I'm not saying anything against you, Ryan, but I don't trust guys that are that big usually.
Why?
Hey, it's different up there, don't you know?
Scientifically, it is the same.
Ah, science.
All right, so we've got a couple of other leads that you guys said you wanted to go after. So let's we can prepare for Juju House for next time. But
Yes.
we got Dr. Mordecai Lemming, who is the folklorist who was brought in by the police, and he identified also that this was tied to a death cult. And you've got the contact in Harvard, and we could do Prospero House if you wanted to as well, or we can do the reading of the will. Prepare for all of those. So where do we want to
Miss
go
West.
from here?
Ms. West, do you have an address for that Mordecai Lemming? Oh, we can
Oh.
find him.
Most assuredly. I'm assuming I do have an address for him, right?
You could try it. You could look him up in the phone book. Is there phone books
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
time?
There's
I don't
his
know.
phone books.
Is there phone
Exactly,
books at this time?
We could just
I
dial
think
an
so.
operator.
Yeah,
We just say,
Connect,
Oh,
connect me to
please,
connect me to Dr. Lemming. That's it.
Yeah.
As long as he's got a phone.
just say New York, Lemming, Mordecai.
Sure.
If there is one. And Mordecai, I mean, that ain't a common name. Come on.
Yeah, it's a fairly common name in certain circles. So can I perhaps I feel like I would maybe have some connections to students of the natural sciences being in charge of a museum of that nature. Potentially? Do you think I could just maybe know enough about him, where to find him, and have a directory of phone books and names and stuff in my house, just in case I need to give somebody a call? Or I guess I could just patch it through an operator.
Yeah,
Either way works.
Going through an operator would be the safest, easiest bet this time frame. Do you want to all kind of reconvene back at your apartment? Is that where you want to take it from here? You're all kind of freezing outside. You're shivering. It's cold. You're on the Hudson River, so it's even colder. The cold breeze blowing off of it.
I'm not cold at all.
I've got my own personal heater. I take a swig of gin.
Miss Murphy, I don't know you very well, but I got to tell you, Miss West's apartment is top notch. I stole nothing from the house, but it's a very nice place. I think we should go there and relax and have some more of your delicious food.
Of course. The folks prepare some.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so you go back to Veronica's apartment.
Yes.
Where's it good? Do some good mood setting. Here we go. Does this work? Yeah, sure. All right.
The lair.
The lair. Oh God! Don't look at the name of this one. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so you go back there and you ring the operator and you ask for Dr. Mordecai Lemming in New York. It takes them a little while, and they eventually connect. And when it does, man comes on the other end and goes, "Yes, Murray Hill Hotel. How can I help you?"
Hello, this is Veronica West, current director of the National Museum of the Museum of Natural History. I'm looking to speak with a certain Mordecai Lemming, please. If you could direct me to.
Can I say who's calling, ma'am?
You may, Madam West.
Very good. One moment. Kind of clicks on the other end, and all of a sudden this voice. Hello, Dr. Lemming.
Hello. I've heard so much about your research, and yet we have yet to meet in the flesh. I'm Veronica West. I'm the current director of the blah 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 titles, and I would be very interested to have a conversation with you if I might.
Regarding what?
Perhaps it would be better to ask you in person.
Kind of like silence on the other end, and you can hear this. Sounds like something
Place of your choosing.
being unscrewed, and you hear him take like a drink or sip on his end. An Amazing Grace is playing in the background.
It's this guy's style. That's the gospel. He likes booze. We're gonna get along famously.
What is it regarding? Please tell me.
It is regarding some of your theories and the potential to have them highlighted in my museum.
Go ahead and you want to try and convince this guy? You want to try and
Yeah,
charm
so there's
him?
a lot of things I could make, and I have ranks in all of them.
Do you want fast talk or charm? Like, what approach do you want to take to this? He's an older sounding man.
Let's see. Let's see what I've got in my aside from credit score. Let's see what's good.
You could use credit score. So credit score could be used in a lot of situations where you want to slip someone some money, like, hey, let us in. And you kind of give us some dough.
Yeah.
But he
So I have acting and charm. Oh, charm's
Charm.
5 points above acting. Okay.
charm,
I'm gonna go
yeah.
ahead and give him the charm. You'll find that I'm actually.
Do you
way
want to
worse at
spend
this
some
than I
luck?
thought.
Because you're sitting on
You
maximum
know
luck.
what? I think I do. I'm going to bring a 74 down to a 45.
Okay.
God, let me do some quick math.
So if you click on that 74 and it expands it, and you can just click spend 29 luck to pass. There's a button there, and it'll automatically. I think it takes it off your character sheet for you.
Cool.
74. Not seeing the
So,
expansion.
so click on the number 74
Okay.
in the roll window. I can see it on mine. I can
Oh,
press it for you.
yes! Excellent.
There you
Thank
go. And then it should have just done the math for you, which is amazing because I'm terrible at
It
math.
totally did. Yeah, so I charm him.
Okay, he goes, very well, young lady. You can come on down and we can talk about whatever it is you want to talk about.
At your place, maybe in. I look at my watch and I look at the or pocket watch or something, and I look at the roads around me. Maybe in like 32 an hour.
Very good. I'm at the Murray Hotel, East 40th Street and Park Avenue. Let the man at the front desk know that you're here to see me. What was your name again?
West. Veronica West. You've
I will-
surely heard of me.
I will call down and let him know that a Veronica West is coming to see me.
And maybe one or two of my friends.
And one or two of her friends. Very good.
Maybe 3 or 4, but the details are not important.
I will see you shortly, Miss West.
Yes. I'll be there. Ciao.
And you hear click on the other end.
All right. We're doing an hour.
I look around your apartment. Do you have like pictures of like, you know, old husbands? Like they're like clearly older?
I have I have several pictures of the same husband.
But was he like really old compared to you? Like, right? Or no?
No, he was, I mean, yes, he was like maybe 10 to 20 years older, but, you know, he wasn't that old. And he was seen in public with me a lot, and there's people on our shoulders, and we're having a great time, and I'm always smiling, and he's always giving that stern, patriarchal look, very self-assured and well aware of his power and his clout within the communities at large, and so unsuspecting of the thing at his side. Yes, there's a lot of pictures of him and me just together in the house.
Ryan thinks that she's trying to find another older suitor in his head after hearing the conversation.
Okay, so
She wouldn't sully herself with someone as low standing as Dr.
A
Lemon.
doctor.
as Dr. Lemmy. Oh, yuck.
Dr. Lemmy, please.
So you're gonna hop in everybody's gonna hop in the
fish to
car and go to
fry.
the Murray Hill Hotel, or is it just you and 2 of your friends, or what are we all going to go see Mr. Mordecai?
It's probably
How many
pretty
of us?
close, considering where Veronica probably lives. She's
Yeah.
fairly highfalutin. You said Park Avenue. Probably just
Yeah.
walk there, hop, skip it a jump.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Park Avenue.
Actually, we definitely just could walk there. I think we
All right,
probably
so
would.
you all arrived much sooner than anticipated. The Murray Hotel. You go inside, and there's a man sitting at a desk at the front. There's a big double stairway behind him, marble lined. The walls are also marble, and the decor is impeccable. It looks like it has not changed though in quite some years. So this hotel didn't open, or it opened in like the 1880s, and it looks like nothing's really changed in here. And you walk in, and the clerk stands up at the reception. Yes, how can I help you? Yes, and he looks over his shoulder at Ryan and at Louis, like over past you, Veronica, and he makes a face like yuck.
Veronica West. You are informed that
He holds out a hand. Yes, Miss West. Yes, I was told that you and a couple of your friends. Are they with you? And he kind of like looks past you in the middle talking and points to the 2 of them.
Yes, they're my entourage. Driver and...
No, they'll have to wait down here.
No, she is lying. I am not any of those things. I am not a driver. I am not entourage. I am Ryan.
Well, whatever.
Ryan is new on the employ.
I
Whatever
am
he
not
is,
employed
he'll have
by
to
her.
wait down here, and so will the other one.
Which
Nah, I don't
other
think I'm
one?
gonna do that. I don't think I'm gonna wait.
He points
This man
kind of like
is an
disgustingly at
important
Louis. No.
What is the problem?
You do not suit the high-class clientele we have here. The 2 of you stand out.
He
If
will.
you'll excuse me and my good friend Louis for just one moment outside, perhaps we can make this misunderstanding a little bit more amenable to you and the clientele of this hotel. I respect. And
When you say that, he kind of like holds out a hand. It kind of like looks down at it. Yeah, maybe we can come to an agreement. Huh? And just like looks down at his palm. It's kind of like outstretched. He's got like a book covering it.
Do not pay them. And as he does, like puts his hand out, Ryan will grab his hand and push it against the desk and squeeze it.
Oh my
Ryan, please wait outside for a moment.
Somebody call the
adults are
police! I'm
talking.
being
The
assaulted!
adults are talking. Hush, hush. Hush, hush.
That
And,
is illegal. What he's asking for.
All right, so I don't know how good my sleight of hand is, but I'm gonna try and slip him like.
I'll tell you, just do me a credit rating roll. That's all you need to do.
I mean, yes, but I also want to. I'm gonna give you a credit rating roll for sure.
Okay.
I'm trying to make it hidden from.
Gotcha.
Me?
From Ryan?
Yeah.
So he's like,
I'm
you assaulted someone,
spending
call the
I'm
police,
spending
call
a
the
luck on
police.
that.
As like Ryan starts to approach him, and I'm gonna say you're gonna
Oh,
kind of like
okay.
get between them, try to stop this.
I'm trying to intimidate him to let me in.
Okay,
Obviously.
so go ahead. Go, Veronica, make your credit rating roll. Oh, sleight of hand. Do you want to spend the luck to make that
I'm
a
spending
thing?
luck on that too.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Why
god,
the
so
fuck not?
desperate that I don't notice.
20 luck. So, and make me your credit rating roll, please. Oh, you
Sure.
passed
No, I
that. You
did.
did that already.
I
Okay,
had to spend
so
luck
you
to pass
you
that
pull
one,
out
too.
what? We'll say you pull out what? Your purse or what? And like you pull out like some bills, and
Oh,
you
yeah, I
quickly
have a
just
purse.
okay.
Yeah.
And,
I have a purse and I fiddle around and my one hand's like up in Ryan's face. Hey, let this man do his business. Let this man do his business.
he
You know,
takes
my one
he's-
hand's up front,
Sure.
my other hand's handing him my fucking
he
purse.
slips it and puts it in his pocket. You know, you kind of do this as you're kind of like getting between Ryan and him, so it's kind of like Ryan doesn't see it, and he goes, "Fine, very good. Well, I suppose we could make some exceptions to the rule."
Seamus has already sort of casually disappeared and has made his way up the
Hey,
stairs.
I feel like that's
you,
exactly
stop.
what I was doing too.
Stop!
Yeah.
Hey,
I did it stealthily though.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. I mean, there's quite a bit of a ruckus. I feel
There
like
was
we
a
had
ruckus.
chance to
If you
slip
wanna-
away.
If you want to make me a stealth roll, you can to try and slip up the stairs. Okay, yeah, you take advantage of the
No.
distraction, and
I'll use my
Louis is like,
reroll though. I have a reroll.
you do have a reroll. It was.
I
but-
do.
Oh,
I have two
you
rerolls,
know.
he goes,
actually.
where are you going? Where are you? As this is kind of playing out, he's kind of calls out to Louis, "You come back here."
Can I help you with something?
But Veronica is able to slip him the money. He goes, I suppose I can turn the other cheek.
Why are you changing your mind now? I'm very confused.
I've been persuaded. That's all I have to say. Please go upstairs. Mr. Lemming, Dr. Lemming, pardon me, was expecting you.
I whispered to Ryan, look at yourself and ask why he changed his mind. You're, how do I put it, physically intimidating. Let's just
I don't like you. And he walks up the stairs.
Oh, you are a piece of work.
You got some rerolls there too, Jeff. Diesel shot punch, some rerolls.
Back up to 2, I think. Yeah.
But Nightbot
Wow.
does not want you to succeed, says Melissa.
What? The AI is taking over.
All right, or Melissa's taking over. Oh, and Captain Karayan also gave you one. You got a whole
Mhm.
bunch of rerolls.
Yeah, I was up. I with Leeds, I had 3, and I used 1, so I'm back down to 2.
Everyone's showering you with rerolls. All right, so as the group of you start to go up this marble staircase, the man at the front takes his phone and he rings, and you can hear him say, like, "Yes, your guests are here." And as you go down up the staircase and down the hallway, Seamus, you're already kind of there, and you see a door open and an elderly man kind of steps out. He's small,
Oh, hey there.
balding, pale. He's wearing like a suit, and you see there's like ink spots on it and such. He seems kind of like a little disheveled and some odd-looking stains. And he looks up and, "Oh yes, you're not the young lady I spoke with on the phone."
Oh, no, Dr. Lemon, but I'm a friend of hers. She's on her way up. They're just a little slower than I am.
"Ah, you're one of the couple of friends she mentioned."
Yes, I'm one of the couple of friends. There's a couple of friends coming too, but I'm one of the couple of them.
He adjusts his glasses and he seems confused. Very, very well. And then
try to be one of the next people he sees.
yeah, suddenly the rest of you kind of come crashing up the stairs, and Veronica, you're out front, and he sees you and he looks kind of delighted to see you. "So is that the rest of your party?"
Oh yeah, that's Miss West. I tell you, she's She's definitely a Sheba, isn't she?
Indeed.
And as you approach, he ushers you. Amazing Grace is blaring in his apartment, and he ushers you into it, and it's quite opulent apartment. It's overcrowded. There's just stacks of books everywhere. The walls are lined with books and bookcases from the ceiling to the floor. And he kind of like you have to like walk. There's little walkways that you have to go through, and he welcomes you in, and he takes you into his sitting room, and he sits down in a big cushy chair, and he kind of motions for the rest of you to sit down on a Chesterfield or a chair.
Oh,
Yes.
Lemming, you've done marvelously for yourself. Good God, look at all these books. Absolutely marvelous.
Thank you. And he takes out a little silver hip flask from his breast pocket. And he takes a little nip and he puts it back.
Now, what was this all about? You wouldn't tell me on the phone?
It is a bit of a sensitive subject as it pertains to a dear friend of mine who's recently passed. Not my husband, another friend.
Who's this? Do I know them?
Can you just tell him why we are here? You beat around the bush so much, it drives me crazy.
One of our friends has recently passed, and I believe it may have something to do with your hypothesis that what was it? Cult of the Sanguine Tongue.
Bloody
Something.
tongue.
Yeah, that one.
At least tell him the true facts.
I'm trying.
He
Let me
goes-
speak.
He kind of he narrows his eyes. What?
Yeah, see, Jackson Elias, he got bumped off, and, you know.
Oh, he kind of he lets out like a
Yes.
nervous kind of giggle, and again he goes back and takes the little nip from his hip flask when you mention his name.
Yes, all I can tell you is what I've told the police.
You sure about that? Because I'm just saying, you know, it's either you could be a suspect, or perhaps the people who bumped him off maybe come to bump you off. So maybe if you help us, you may, you know, get to see a few more days. I mean, I'm going to say days because I don't think you got weeks, but maybe days.
We are here to help, mind you. This is not some sort of interrogation or inquisition. We
Oh, it's
want
not-
to know.
Louis, I thought we were interrogating him.
I'm
He's no man. We
We're
don't gotta hurt
helping.
nobody
We're
here.
helping.
He wants to help us. He wants to.
I'm
Yeah.
so
Look,
confused.
I just talk. I don't just say your words and we can be done.
Listen, I'll tell you what I told the police. I believe the mark to be that of an African death cult. But more than likely, it's someone mimicking the symbol of the cult to stir up ill feelings. I don't believe a death cult is running around New York. To you, now that's silly.
No, definitely here because we chased him out of his room.
Why would somebody make up a cough? Some kind of what hurt feeling? What possible motivation is there to mimic a remote and probably not known by just about anybody symbol of a death cult?
More importantly, why would they mark their own face with it as opposed to, you know, a less permanent means of demonstrating affiliation other than oneself? The people that we've really talked ourselves into a bit of a mire here. We witnessed the death of Elias, and those responsible for the markings of the cult that you are referring to. And we do not understand why a copycat of said cult might mark themselves in the same way. This is a permanent thing to have a markation such as that upon your forehead. Doesn't strike me as a copycat. It strikes me as something one does out of belief.
It's preposterous. Don't you agree? I'm sure someone read something in a book in the library and they got a idea from there.
A lot
Listen,
of books in the library about a remote African death cult.
It was all
There
over
are
the news.
some, yes. That's how I know about
There's
it.
really not that many at all, actually. I'm pretty sure maybe it was just Jax's book is probably the only one that's of foremost variety.
Listen, if you want to know more about African folklore and cult histories and the such, perhaps you should go. There is a shop that sells trinkets and such from Kenya in Harlem by the name of Juju House. You can go speak to its proprietor, Mr. Silas Nakwan. He may be able to help you. He regularly sends me trinkets and fetishes and such from the region, and he is more of an expert than I am.
Yeah. Say there, Silas Nakwan. Never heard of the fella. I tell you, there must be Kenyans dropping out of the sky here in New York.
He looks very confused by this. He doesn't know what to say.
Well, it is very kind of you to refer us on to the merchandise seller that you go to frequently. But I was wondering if you might have some insights of your own as to, well, why a death cult might be active in New York. I see that you're skeptical, as am I, but...
Like I said, there is no death cult operating in New York. This is preposterous. That man who is currently on death row in Sing Sing is the one to blame for this. The police caught the man. This is obviously a copycat that took place the other night.
As Amazing Grace begins to blare.
Is there no other song you can play?
I am partial to Amazing Grace.
Well, Doctor, before we go, do you recall the names of the police officers that you spoke with?
Yes. I spoke with Lieutenant Poole and a Robson. Captain Robson, I believe it was.
Was it together or separate?
Separate. The lieutenant, he wasn't quite convinced of this, but the captain had better senses and agreed with what I had to say.
So, how did you manage to finger that Mr. Hilton Adams for the crimes? If you don't mind me asking.
I didn't. You need to speak to the police about that. I was just called in to help identify the marks.
I don't know about this fella at all. Louis, I think maybe he actually
old
needs
man.
an interrogation.
Oh, he cowers. He takes a sip. I'm an old man living alone.
I'm not one for roughing up old men. So you've been to this Juju house before? You seem to know about it. You've been there. You know this Silas Nakwan.
I don't leave the house much these days, especially when it's so cold. No, he sends over items for me and I pay them. I send him the money. He charges a very reasonable price.
What kind of items does he send you?
He kind of turns behind him, and there's a cabinet, and there's like little wooden statuettes and carvings, and it looks like little maps that people have carved of the region. Looking at them, face value, it looks like touristy knickknacks.
These are objects that Mr. Nakwan has supplied me.
While this is all going on, Seamus sort of walks away and starts looking around, seeing if he sees anything that's out of place in the apartment.
Sure, make me a spot hidden. Oh my goodness. Critical
Don't
failure.
notice. Nyarlathotep was right there, sitting in the
How do you
bathroom,
do that?
just completely
Oh,
missed.
I walked right into a wall.
Hey, you guys looking for me?
You swear you saw a shadow underneath a closed door nearby.
Hey,
like-
look, hey,
Like it looks like legs.
hey, doctor, who else you got in this place?
Nobody. I'm by myself. An old man. Live by myself.
Hey, Rain, there's somebody on the other side of this door trying to hide. I saw a shadow under there move.
No.
I will listen. Do I hear anything?
You just want to go over the door and listen?
Yeah, I'm not gonna break it.
Yeah,
down.
make me a listen roll.
Matt, chat is asking if you could turn the music down a hair.
Yes.
I guess I'll just use one luck.
Thank you, Jeff. Is that better, everybody? Wait for it. Use your luck. Okay. He goes, yeah. So you listen and you don't hear anything. It's silent.
I think it's your imagination.
Well, that might be this whole place. This whole thing is it's got me a little turned inside out.
Mm.
Dr. Lemming, do you mind if I borrow your washroom?
Fine, then please leave. I've told you everything I know.
Of course. It's cold outside. And...
As you're going to the washroom, he picks up the phone and he starts dialing down the front desk.
Yes, please send someone up here. These people are bothering me.
No, we don't.
You
have
know
to
that,
do that.
Dr. Lemming, that was quite rude. But so, having been irritated by the doctor, on my way out, I'm going to look for the nicest thing I can see in there and take it with
Nice.
me.
Sure. I'm gonna say you notice a really, really old book. Just like this thing looks ancient, and it's sitting on top of one of the piles of books, and you don't even see what the title is. You just grab it. It looks like it's valuable. You grab it, and are you trying to be like sleight of hand, sly about it? Or
Oh
you're
yeah,
just taking it?
yeah. No,
All right.
no. Sleight of hand. He doesn't
Roll
do
me sleight of
anything
hand, please.
overtly. He tries to do everything subtly. He feels embarrassed about the door, so there we go. 35 over. Under
Yeah,
90.
so you take it, you just kind of swipe it, throw it in your jacket, nobody notices.
Matt, as we're at the door, I want to do like the Columbo turn around. Like, hey, just one more thing.
One more thing. Yeah, sure.
No, please leave.
No, just real quick. Just when's the next delivery? This Silas is making for you.
He takes out a little book and he goes,
The 24th of January.
The 24th is a good day. It's a good day. All right. Well, thank you for your time. Can I do like a psych read on him? See if he was holding out.
yeah,
to us?
please
'Cause,
go
like,
ahead. Yeah, make me a psychology roll.
Oh my gosh, I cannot. I have a reroll. Never mind. I've got a reroll.
You have a reroll.
Yeah, you have so many rerolls. Holy shit!
I have another
That's a
reroll.
lot.
I'm gonna use
There's a
all-
lot of music
I'll
playing.
just use.
Is it,
I'll
is it
use 10
better,
luck. I'm
guys?
pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm pretty close.
I should ask the chat because Amazing Grace is blaring yet again, and I've turned
No,
down.
I'm gonna reroll. Because you don't get to do the thing. All right, now I'll spend luck. God.
He would change that back to this song when we leave.
All right, I passed.
Okay,
It's a long way to get there, but I passed.
That was a really long.
I'm gonna.
I love all those rerolls spent on this. So good.
They know he needs help. This
I turned the
poor old
music
man.
off on this scene because there's like different various elements. I'll just turn the music off. So it's like a fireplace now and a whirling fan. Amazing Grace blaring over and over again. All right. Okay. So yeah, you kind of read him, and he's just like, yeah, he's not being malicious. He's not hiding anything. He's just kind of like a frightened old man now with like
Yeah.
5 people in his apartment accosting him and going through his stuff and walking over to doors and hammering him with
Yeah.
questions.
I'll basically like kind of lean to Seamus and everyone else, just be like, yeah, I mean, I he just seems like a scared old man. Like he doesn't even have anything good on those shelves, for crying out loud. You know, like there's just like
plenty
it.
of information on these shelves. He
Not
is an
really.
esteemed member of the community, archaeologically speaking, natural sciences. He's an esteemed member of that community, and we value him as such. And we shall maybe make ourselves scarce. We're clearly
No, I'm not even in the apartment anymore. I'm outside. I'm just saying he don't have any useful information for us, is what I'm saying. Like everything he told us, we already knew. We already knew about the Juju house. We already knew about Silas the Quan. I mean, this is what we call in the business kind of a dead end. Like it was sort of
Yeah,
a waste of time. We should be going to Juju, I think.
Yes, we
No
should go to
shit.
Juju House. 2 things pointing at Juju House. We should go there.
All right.
Yeah.
We got a few minutes left on this
let's call Harvard.
session. Do you want to call Harvard before the end of this one? This is the last thing you would have prepared.
Might as
Call
well.
call Harvard, and it was a the letter was from a Miriam Atterite at Harvard University. It read, "Dear Mr. Elias, the book about which you inquired is no longer in our collection. The information you seek may be found here in other volumes. If you will contact me upon arrival, I will be most happy to further assist you." So does someone want to make a call to Harvard and get in touch with Miss Miriam Atwright?
Phones in hand. Once we get back to my apartment.
Sure. So you reconvene at the apartment once again. You can
The
either,
lair.
instead of traveling to Massachusetts, we're going to call Harvard. You kind of call around. You get redirected a couple times, and eventually the call makes its way to Widener Library, and you ask to speak to Miss Atwright, and she eventually comes on the phone. She goes, yeah. Yes, how can I help you?
Hello, Veronica West from the Natural History Museum.
Very good. Were you looking to have a book or some volumes sent over to the museum? How can I help you?
Yes. Unfortunately, I'm calling on more personal matters than that. However, rest assured, you are in my phone book for future notice, in case I do. I regret to inform you that one of my esteemed colleagues and a dear friend of mine, Elias,
Jackson
Elias.
has passed away. And,
You hear her go, I'm so sorry.
He was working closely with my museum, and we were in the process of working on a collaboration together. And it's to be, but perhaps going to be postponed for the time being. But he did inform me that there was a connection of his, an instrumental book of some sort that he was trying to source from your library. I was hoping that perhaps you might do me the favor of looking for that self-same book, and perhaps helping me figure out what its contents may have been, so that I could pass the information on to the other folks here who are working on reviving his legacy.
You hear almost like a tremble in her voice. She sounds like she's genuinely struck by this news. She goes, I admired Mr. Elias. I worked with him.
I do as well.
Quite closely. He reached out to me for a number of books, but the last one, I think the one that you may be referring to, he was looking for a book called Africa's Dark Sects. Sects. Africa's Dark Sects. But it mysteriously disappeared from the library just several months before he requested it. I went back through the records, I looked, and nobody signed it out, nothing, but it's just not there.
Oh, good heavens.
It just vanished in thin air. I can't explain it. It's never happened here.
Oh my. Well, at the very least, the name helps me. Do you know if anywhere else the information's therein found might be written down?
No.
Are there any other books that might?
It's quite a rare book, and that's why unfortunately it's quite a loss for the library. You know, now that you mention it, there's one other thing. Remember that there was an unspeakable odor in the collection the day we noticed the book was missing. It's awful smell coming from the library and that section of it. But that's all I have. I'm sorry. That's all I can help. If there's anything you need, please reach out to me. If it's in relation to Mr. Elias and his research, anything that's going on with him.
Absolutely. Perhaps you might be so kind as to tell me what sort of information was held within this book. It does sound to be, to put it in slang terms, up Elias's alley to be looking into dark cults or something of the nature, dark sects, as it were.
She apologized.
Perhaps.
I've never read it myself. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not aware.
That is truly a pity. But thank you ever so much for your time.
Very good. And like I said, if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Of course, yes. You'll be the first one to call, should I need it.
She lets you go and ends the call. So you have the name of the book that Jackson was requesting.
So, Miss West, you think maybe your buddy there, the old man doctor there, might have a copy of that book? He had a lot of books.
Have a lot of books.
Oh, by the way, a donation for your library. I mean, for your museum there. I found this. He hands over the book he stole.
Can I roll like an archaeology or something? To see if it's any...
What, for the book?
Yeah, just to see if it's worth anything. Oh, and an appraisal I could do too.
You can do an appraisal. Yeah, sure.
Oh, that's even better.
Did you steal this book?
All right. What is it worth?
It's worth what, $200 in current 1920s money. It's an old like ancient printing of the Bible.
Oh my god. I look at it and I say, oh, you must have found this at such a quaint small store. One of those curio peddlers along the way, huh? Oh goodness. Step into my back library for a moment. I must extend my gratitude to you and give you a book in exchange.
Well, thank you, Miss West. That's awful sweet of you. Yeah, a little bookstall. That's what I found it. Sure.
Oh,
No, Ryan. Well, you know.
You know, she makes this face when she's lying. She
The
scrunches
face I
her nose
swear.
up and makes like her eyebrows like these.
Are you a
So
lion
she's
cat?
Not...
Is that you?
That's just my normal face. I need to pause to reflect when I speak sometimes. It just happens, you know.
You know, the doctor will be very sad. He was a very amazing grace, kept playing, you know, and now you're stealing his very old Bible. This is not okay.
He was a very rude man to me.
Well, every time someone's rude to me, do you see me punch them in the face? Because
Good
Veronica
lord.
would be
Whoa.
dead if that was the case.
You did try to accost the doorman down, but I mean, not that I blame you. He was being very rude. But
I didn't
just
even
saying.
get there. I was trying to get there.
Would you like to punch me in the face? It might leaven or might improve the load on that you carry on your shoulder.
No, I will wait for that day to become natural. I'm not just going to do it in your apartment. That is crazy.
Oh, please. You wouldn't be the first.
So, Miss
Okay.
West, was there something you were going to give me in the office? Because the tension in here is getting
Yes.
thick enough to come with a button.
Yes, let's go to my
Hope you can
back
sleep at
library.
night.
Okay, we're coming up at the end of the session here. Let me ask you this: where do you want to go first next session? We're coming up. We've done 3 leads now. We're gonna be coming up on the reading of the will. Maybe we'll kick off with that. And what else do you want to do from there?
Juju
Juju
house.
Juju house.
Juju House and Prospero House. Do you want to go see him as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we should have
Prospero
it,
House too, but yeah, let me also Juju House.
Juju House.
If I might be
Juju
so bold as
House.
to suggest, out of the blue and
1925 is when this is taking place. All right, go to Sears. Yeah, Sears Roebuck. Go get yourself a
I
shotgun.
have a Tommy gun, I should say. It's in the apartment.
That's fair.
Excellent.
That's fair. Okay, so Juju House next week, Prospero House, Reading of the Will, and then let me know any other leads that you want to run down in New York. Because you're gonna guess what? You're gonna get some more based off of what happens next. $3,000 in today money? Beowulf? Okay, wow.
We
Sorry, Beowulf did
Bible.
went and did the calculations of the Bible, and it's worth like $3,000, $3,100 today money.
I mean that actually that makes sense. That pans. That's maybe even a low bid.
All right. So that was a good session. Thank you everybody for playing. Thank you everybody for joining us. We're getting some good characterization here. We had less slang, 1920 slang this time. Maybe next time it'll make a reappearance. the unrelenting slang, but it's good to have the full group here. So let's do the round tables with whatever he's got going on this week. Aaron, what you got going on?
Tomorrow on Garblag Games at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be playing some Akshun Cthulhu. We are taking out Cthulhu and those Nazi bastards. Thursday night, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, Blades in the Dark.
Question mark.
Hopefully. And then on Sunday night over on Free League, we'll be playing some more Aliens.
That's right. That's going to be hairy. It's going to be interesting Sunday. All right.
We're so going to die.
Yep. We got to catch Evan up on that too. Megan, you got anything going on you want to talk about? Are you still doing your board game library that you're working your way through?
Yeah, we did a Catan explosion. We played regular Catan, family Catan, and like kid Catan.
Yeah. I picked that up recently. I played it with my 5-year-old. My first Catan or whatever it's called.
Right?
It's fun with the pirate
the
ships.
one with the pirates.
Yeah. It's fun.
Wicked. Although like where you get rum barrels, swords, and something else.
Goats. Is it goat? No, goats. Isn't it?
Yeah,
is it goats?
Oh, yeah.
Swords,
Yeah.
rum.
Probably donkeys.
Donkey, something. It's some animal.
Yep. No, it's good.
Oh, not donkey. Oh, I didn't hit the donkey button. Jeff reminded me.
But yes, we are. We had when we finally moved everything, we had 237 board games.
Woo!
Wow.
We got rid of, I think it was just over 100. They were either missing pieces or whatnot. So we are, streamlining. We've played through most of them, so we'll see.
Wow, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Pat, what do you have going on the rest of this week?
Hi. So I co-run Diesel Shot, as I've mentioned innumerable times. And tomorrow night, I'm actually going to be in 2 things. One right after the other. We will fucking raid each other. That's how close they are in time. I'm literally going to have a 30-minute time span to change costume, eat, and, sober up. It's going to be great. So starting at 7 to 9, my time, EST, we have our sponsored by Fool's Moon game on Diesel Shot, Worlds Without Number. It's a blast. We're coming to the climax of our very first adventure. It's going to be exciting. And 30 minutes later, I will be on Level 1 Geek with a memorial game of aliens and asteroids, or asteroids and aliens. I can't remember which one goes
cool.
Um,
where.
It's very special. I'm honored to have been invited on Level 1 Geek for such a poignant game, and I hope I do. It's a game. It's going to be blast, but it's going to be meaningful, and it's just really, really an honor to have been invited on that. And so you'll see me at 9:30 my time until probably around midnight on Level 1 Geek. And then Thursday, if you're not playing Blades in the Dark, or even if you are, you can catch the first half of our game, Diesel Shot Uranium Fever. It's our Fallout game with a custom system. And on Friday, I appear on Garblag Games with the Vampire the Masquerade game. I'm finally returning. I know it's been a week without my character, and I'm sure Veronique has made a lot of very interesting decisions in my absence that I will have to catch up on when I finally get a chance to watch the VOD. I'm coming back on Friday for Vampire, and on Saturday in the morning, actually, perfect time for those of you on the British side of things here. You can find us on Diesel Shot with a hosted game of Malcolm Fett's. This is the first playtest of his upcoming game, which maybe in a year we might see on Kickstarter. Who knows? It's called Legacy. You can catch us really early, 10 to 2 p.m. EST on Diesel Shot, and that's Saturday. Sunday I rest, and Monday I also rest, but we're still on Diesel Shot. And Tuesday, find me fucking here.
Back to some Nyarlathotep.
It's a packed week. I'm sorry.
It is a packed week for you.
It's a packed week for me.
Jeff, what do you got going on the rest of this week?
Twitch.tv/lollygaggers on Friday. We're back to Delta Green, Impossible Landscapes. continuing through part 2, getting close to the end of part 2. Saturday, we're doing Worlds Without Number. We do a little sci fantasy hex crawl. And Monday, we are doing Ultraviolet Grasslands, starting. We already did character creation, so now we're actually starting the adventure proper. And then tomorrow night over on Defenders of Cobalt, I'll be playing some Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Very cool. Evan, you're in most of the games that Aaron had already mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Blades on Thursday, Alien Sunday.
Yep, gotta see how my alien character is gonna get in there.
Yeah, I know. That'll be interesting. We're like, oh. All right, it's good. All right, thank you everybody for joining us for session 2 of Masks and Nyarlathotep, the New York chapter. Things are unraveling. We're getting more clues, and it's kind of just getting bigger and bigger. It's funny, when I prepped this, I asked the players, like, give me 3 leads you want to go after this week. And like, as you know, I prep for each of these leads, it just kind of snowballs. And I knew you were going to want to go to Juju House. I knew it was going to happen. But that will wait for next week. We're going to go see Mr. Silas Naquan next Tuesday. So everybody have a great week. We're going to go out on Millie's intro here, and we'll see you next week, Tuesday.